Good morning, all. As we enter into this virtual service, please note that those of you participating via Zoom have been muted by our host. Also, be advised that the service is being recorded and, with the exception of joys and concerns, will be published online. Please be reminded that the annual UUCC membership meeting will commence immediately after the service, both in person and on Zoom. Please remain in the sanctuary or on Zoom after the question and comment session. Thank you. Finally, if you wish to take a quick moment to arrange your own chalice at home, please do so. The opening words are from The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe. Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells. What a world of merriment their melody foretells, how they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight, keeping time, time, time in a sort of runic rhyme to the tintinnabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 from the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. Tonight marks the 8th night of Hanukkah. We recognize this rededication of the Holy Temple with this menorah. The 8th candle will be added and lit at sunset this evening. For today's service, Randy will light the chalice here in the sanctuary. I invite you to light your own chalice, and please place it where it can be seen by all. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lit the flames within us and the community. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing with Wayne as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. So let's all sing the opening hymn, Over the Rainbow, by Yip Harburg and Harold Arlen, to be led by Wayne Atto.
When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane where all the clouds darken up the skyway. There's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just behind the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, eyes are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
What a great song. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you have joined us today. We acknowledge that our UUCC sanctuary stands on land that was once inhabited by the coastal Chumash and Salinan indigenous people, whose ancestors lived primarily in the San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties. As a Unitarian Universalist community, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who join in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation inviting speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations from a variety of topics and areas of interest to our community that connect with the UU7 principles. Today's service centers around the fourth principle. We affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. As responsible religious seekers, we recognize that we are privileged to be free, to have resources to pursue life beyond the mere survival, to continually search for truth and meaning, to exist beyond bonds of dogma and oppression, and to wrestle freely with truth and meaning as they evolve. My name is Nancy Tolan, and I am the worship associate this morning. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you joined us this morning. If you are not on our mailing list, please visit our website at www.uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. And please check out What's Happening, a weekly e-blast sent to all of our members and friends. This is a great way to keep up with the latest news in our community. And a reminder, if you wish to see this or any of our past Zoom services, recordings of these services can be found on the UUCC website and Facebook as well. The membership committee invites non-members to consider joining our community. Please contact Diane DeMarco or a person on the board if you are interested. Thank you. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are felt. Did I miss something? Yeah. Okay. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of our community as well as a promise we make and aspire to. Let us now sing the affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help, and to help, and to help one another.
We set aside this time for a short announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. For any items that need more explanation, please call or email the person after the service to be respectful of everyone's time. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand, When Diane or I call your name, please stand or unmute yourself, then speak. So is anyone here in the sanctuary? Mary?
Yeah, for the last several years, Ron Perry and I would sing for the annual Songs of the Season that for FFRP fundraiser. And the last 2 years were canceled due to COVID. Well, this year, Ron Perry has decided he would like to have a garage concert. So you're welcome to come by. His address is 1811 Wales Road, and the date is December 11th at 3 p.m. There's a great big grassy knoll in front of his place. We'll set up in front of his garage. And Randy will play a couple numbers on trombone. His friend Carolyn, who's a wonderful flautist, will play a few numbers with us as well. 3 p.m., December 11th. Hope to see you.
Randy?
You and Cameron. The day after, on December 12th, at the City Hall of Tascadero, the Tascadero Community Band will be doing a concert, an outdoor holiday concert on the front steps of City Hall. So it's very easy to find. Just take the 41 exit off the 101, and you're right there. So 2:30 on December 12th, we're doing a concert. Love to see you there. Just bring your lawn chairs and a picnic or whatever, and it should be a glorious event. Hey, see you there.
Anybody else here? Okay, Diane?
Okay, Lou, would you please unmute yourself and tell us your announcement?
Good morning. Men's group meets tomorrow at 10 by Zoom, and Andy, I presume, will send out the link. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. And I also have an announcement. The women's group will also be meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock. If you would like to put your name down and get an invitation, you can find my email in the newsletter, or let me know, or call me, and you'll get an invitation. So we look forward to connecting with the women's group tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And I think that's all our announcements. Thank you very much.
I have one.
Oh, yes, Dolores.
Yeah, there's a meeting on Thursday for the Operations Committee on Zoom. So see you Thursday, and anybody is welcome to join. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, back to you, Nancy.
Thanks, Diane. Next week, Mary Raskin will present Humanistic Judaism and Honoring Human Rights Day. We take this time to celebrate all those who are having a birthday this month. Birthdays are a special moment. It is a time in which you feel as if the world is taking a moment to invite you into being, just like on the day you were born. If you have a birthday this month, please raise your hand. When Diane or I call your name, unmute yourself and reveal your special date. Any birthdays coming up here? Wayne.
28.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Wayne. Oh, we have another one.
Oh, yes.
Rose Tamiazzo, the 21st. Happy
Okay.
birthday, Rose. Thank you.
Solstice Day, I think.
Okay, and Mary Ann, would you unmute, please?
Okay, Gregarious Sagittarius over here, December 17th.
And Don Howell, would you please unmute?
That looks like it's been a good month, December 14th for me.
And I think that's all for today, Nancy.
Okay, thank you. And happy birthday, everyone. Technical difficulties here. Oh, geez. Yeah, I can see what I'm doing. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Okay.
It takes a village.
Oops, I wasn't supposed to do that. Okay, yeah, it's dripping. Okay, got that. Again, happy birthday, one and all, and happy unbirthday to the rest of us. This birthday candle honors all the friends and family members of this community who are also celebrating birthdays this month. Now it's time for joys and concerns. Sharing today some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as a part of your personal life. But please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. This is a time of community building. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and sorrows which have gone unspoken today, but are also deeply felt in this community. The first reading is from the book Interpretation of Fairy Tales by Marie-Louise von Franz. Fairy tales are the purest and simplest expression of collective unconscious psychic processes. Therefore, their value for the scientific investigation of the unconscious exceeds that of all other material. They represent the archetypes in their simplest, barest, and most concise form. In this pure form, the archetypal images afford us the best clues to the understanding of the processes going on in the collective psyche. In myths or legends or any other more elaborate mythological material, we get at the basic patterns of the human psyche through an overlay of cultural material. But in fairy tales, there is much less specific conscious cultural material, and therefore they mirror the basic patterns of the psyche more clearly. Let us now join in a time of meditation, of prayer and of silence. Let us seek the quiet and the calm, laying aside our struggles. And in the silence, may there be a reverence in our hearts, a thankfulness within our spirit, and a deepening understanding of the meaning of our lives. Let us enter the silence. Please come back now. In his book, The Biology of Belief, Bruce H. Lipton, PhD, wrote, "There is no doubt that human beings have a great capacity for sticking to false beliefs with great passion and tenacity, and hyper-rational scientists are not immune. Our well-developed nervous system, headed by our big brain, is testament that our awareness is far more complicated than that of a single cell. When our uniquely human minds get involved, we can choose to perceive the environment in different ways. I was exhilarated by the new realization that I could change the character of my life by changing my beliefs. I was instantly energized because I realized that there was a science-based path that could take me from my job as a perennial victim to my new position as co-creator of my destiny. In simple terms, the character of our life is based upon how we perceive it." The anthem today is "What Would I Do If I Could Feel" by Charlie Smalls and will be sung by Mary Schwalbe.
I wanted to mention that on the screen you see Nipsey Russell. He portrayed the Tin Man in The Wiz on Broadway and also in the movie. And this is his song. What would I do if I could suddenly feel and to know once again that what I feel is real? I could cry, I could smile, I could lay back for a while. Oh, tell me what would I do if I could feel? What would I do if I could reach inside me and to know how it feels to say I like what I see? Then I'd be more than glad to share all that I have inside of here, and the songs my heart might bring. You'd be more than glad to sing, and if tears should fall from my eyes, just think of all the wounds they could mend, and just think of all the time I could spend just being vulnerable again. Oh, tell me what would I do? Oh, tell me what would I do? Oh, tell me what would I do if I could feel?
Thank you, Mary, for that lovely song. Today's sermon is titled 9 Extraordinary Insights from the Yellow Brick Road, to be delivered by John Tamiazzo. The sermon covers the following principles. It's a long list. Principle 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Principle 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Principle 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Principle 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Principle 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. John Tamiazzo, PhD, taught at Santa Barbara City College Adult Education for over 20 years, offering a variety of humanistic and spiritual psychology classes, health and wellness workshops, and love and intimacy seminars. He also was an instructor for UCSB's counseling certification program for 15 years, teaching courses in counseling skills and theories of counseling and psychotherapy. His distinguished professional background includes positions as program director for 3 community mental health and research centers in Southern California. Dr. Tamiazzo served as the executive director for 2 traumatic head and brain injury facilities on the Central Coast. John is also the author of 2 books and gives workshops on both. His books are Love and Be Loved, 8 Steps to Creating Intimacy and Finding the Love You Want, and the source of today's sermon, Returning to the Land of Oz, Finding Hope, Love, and Courage on Your Yellow Brick Road. John is currently the executive director of Showers of Blessing. For more information about John, you can visit his website, www.johntamiazzo.com. John.
Good morning, everyone. Such a pleasure having you here today. Would you like it?
Oh, no.
First, I do want to thank some very special people. It takes a lot of organization to put these Sunday sermons together. And Randy, Mary, Andy, Wayne, Nancy, Diane, Jan, thank you so much. I was so impressed yesterday watching them organize and creatively create what you see today. I really appreciate you all. I think that it would be helpful to give a little background who L. Frank Baum was. His book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, in the year 2000, which was the 100th anniversary of the publication in 1900, the Library of Congress declared The Wonderful Wizard of Oz to be America's greatest and best loved fantasy fairy tale. That's a pretty special thing. Let's see. I'll be reading from a couple of different sources, and these are short excerpts. In 1892, L. Frank Baum joined the Theosophical Society in Chicago. Theosophy must have had a powerful influence on the development of his imagination, because Theosophy avows to the belief in a reality beyond the physical world, which includes spirits in the afterlife. Theosophy espouses universal brotherhood and sisterhood, and the importance of developing balance and harmony within oneself and in the world around. The focus of Theosophy is the search for and discovery of truth. All of these are uplifting themes in The Wizard of Oz. He went to the Chicago World Expo in 1893, and the White City there was the inspiration for the Emerald City, 1893. And who lit up that White Expo? No other than Nikola Tesla. It was the first all-electric fair in the world. A few more things. Baum's mother-in-law was a devout feminist leader who marched with Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who founded the Women's National Liberal Union. The union was dedicated to the separation of church and state and focused on social reform. Baum was an advocate of women's suffrage, and he wrote extensively about the fundamental need for women's rights and marched alongside his wife and mother-in-law. He was quite a guy. The first principle we're going to be working with today, the first insight, is that fear blocks access to your intuitive wisdom. There's I want to clarify too, there's quite a bit of difference between the book published in 1900 and the film. They both are wonderful representations of the Wizard of Oz, but the storyline of the book takes very different paths than the film. But the film's a musical, and musicals and people who make films about books oftentimes take different paths. But the thing that I wanted to point out is that the film starts off, as you remember, with a very bleak look at Kansas, and so does the book. And Dorothy is very upset because this woman, Mrs. Gulch, I think her name is wants to take her dog Toto and have him destroyed. And her aunt and uncle don't want to bother with Dorothy yelling and screaming. And then these the workmen are trying to tell her to calm down. You got to be better behaved, acting like that. The book doesn't start like this at all. All that is made up. The book starts out with Baum describing Dorothy Gale as a very happy child. She's an orphan, and she lives with her uncle and her Aunt Em, but she is a delightfully happy child. She doesn't complain about anything. As a matter of fact, Aunt Em is just awestruck by how happy this child is, and she laughs all the time and plays with her dog. So then the cyclone comes. When the cyclone comes, they changed that setting a little bit in the film. They had a place for them to all go to protect themselves from the cyclone, which was separate from the house. But in the book, it was a basement built under the house, and they had a trap door, and they went inside. That's a moot point. The thing about it that is really significant, though, is in the film, Dorothy gets hit on the head by an unhinged window that's blown off of its frame, and it knocks her unconscious as she's traveling through the land of Oz. That didn't happen in the book. What happens in the book is that Dorothy becomes frightened, and she moves into a state of fear, which is our first insight. Because what she does is she accesses her intuitive wisdom and says to herself, I'm really afraid. Toto, I'm afraid. But I think we just need to relax and be calm, and let's just see what comes. And she falls into a deep meditation and then sleep. And then she's transported to the land of Oz. Now, remaining calm and actualizing positive expectancy, which is part of this first insight, didn't come easy for me because I was raised in an Italian family, and Italian families are not calm. They are anything but that. I mean, everyone's yelling over each other, and people are very emotional, and but calm, being low-key, relaxed, serene, peaceful, still, that's my goal, to be in those states at this particular time in my life. Insight number 2, listening to the right voice creates hope and inspiration. In the film, something magical happens between Glinda and Dorothy when Dorothy arrives in the land of Oz. That doesn't happen in the film. Glinda gives Dorothy a kiss on the forehead. She does it in the film, but she says something that comforts Dorothy and helps her on her journey to the land of Oz to see the wizard. She says, no one will dare harm a person who has been kissed by the witch of the north. You're protected on your journey. Very different. Beautiful. Isn't that something we would want our parents to tell us during our years of growing up, telling the daughter and your son, you're protected. And when I kiss you on the forehead or I kiss you on the cheek, you're protected in your life. Nothing is going to bring harm to you. What wonderful, consoling words. Also, what Glinda does, which she does in the film, is she gives her a pair of ruby red shoes. But in the original book, they are actually silver. The producers of The Wizard of Oz wanted the shoes to stand out, so they made them red. They're also, if you can believe this, how beautiful is this song that Mary and Wayne just sang? Well, it's the American Film Institute regards it as the greatest song ever in film history. The producers were going to take it out of the film. They didn't even want this song in there. So there were 3 producers, 2 men and 1 woman. The woman producer, I don't remember her name. I don't remember the men's producers' names either. She stood firm and said, no, this song stays in the film. It's a beautiful song. But they didn't like how it was coming off with being sung by Judy Garland, but it stayed in the film. Our third insight, feeling safe and developing trust are fundamental to your inner peace. So the question I always ask when I see someone in a counseling situation is, how safe did you feel in your home growing up? Safety is really important. And you can imagine even more now what's going on in the world. We don't feel very safe. I mean, look at us all. We're wearing masks. We wear masks almost everywhere we go, unless if we're of a different persuasion. So feeling safe is fundamental. Abraham Maslow said it is fundamental. It's an essential need. And developing trust naturally follows safety. If you don't feel safe consistently over time, because your parents have had to be consistently attentive and help you to feel safe for you to then develop trust. So those two are essential in our lives. Fourth insight, you're blessed with a miracle brain. This takes us to the Dorothy's journey on the yellow brick road. Glenda tells her, I understand you want to go home. The Wizard of Oz will most likely help you. You've got your ruby red shoes. You've got my kiss on the forehead. Just take yourself to see the wizard. Well, when Scarecrow said, I don't have a brain, I want a brain, what he didn't realize, the complexity of this brain we have. When I was reading the numbers, I was astounded. 100 billion nerve cells, 100 trillion connections of these nerve cells, supported by 400 miles of blood vessels. Imagine that, 400 miles of blood vessels. That would take us all the way from, Santa Barbara to San Francisco is about, 250 miles? And we have to go another 150 miles more, maybe up to Mendocino. From Santa Barbara to Mendocino, the amount of blood vessels in our brain. This remarkable communication system controls, coordinates, regulates all physical and mental activities we perform every single day. The senses of sight, sound, touch, feeling, taste, smell, kinesthesia are all part of the brain's activity. Scarecrow wants a mind that can assess situation, figure things out, make good and healthy decisions. That's what he really wants. Insight number 5. When your heart is open, you radiate an inner magnetism that draws good things to you. Scarecrow and Dorothy move on, and they find this Tin Man in the middle of the woods, and he is frozen. He's frozen because, one, no one has spoken to him or helped him in a year. He's been standing there for a year, and he's been grunting, and no one has responded except Dorothy and the Scarecrow. And all he wants, the Tin Man, is to have a heart so he can love again. This was not emphasized in the film. It's emphasized in Baum's book. He says, I was so in love with this Munchkin girl, and the relationship fell apart. And all I want is to have a heart so I can love again. Because he believes he doesn't have a heart, as Scarecrow believes he doesn't have a brain. And in his desire for love, there's no blame, there's no guilt, there's no anger, there's no fear. He just wants to love again, compassionately, respectfully, honestly, intimately. Insight number 6. Instead of making a change, do something truly inspiring and take a quantum leap. There is a part of the story The three of them are on, or the two of them, yeah, the three of them are on the yellow brick road. Because we haven't gotten to the lion yet, but the three of them are on the yellow brick road. And they come to a ditch. And this ditch is so wide and so deep that they are now stuck and they can't pursue going to the Emerald City. And so they look at each other and they all decide, well, I guess our journey has come to an end because we can't get beyond this ditch. It's probably about 12 or 15 feet wide. So the lion, who says that he doesn't have courage and calls himself a coward, he says, I think I can leap over it. And so then Scarecrow, who doesn't have a brain, says, you know, if you can leap over it, you can take one of us on your back one at a time and get us over to the other side. And so first they take Dorothy, and there's a fabulous picture that was drawn by W.W. Denslow. I haven't spoken about him yet, but W.W. Denslow is the artist. He's the one who created 160 pictures. He took the imagination of Baum and created 160 colorful pictures to move this story forward. So anyway, the lion takes each one of them one at a time, and they leap over this big ditch, and they get over to the other side. But once they get to the other side, and this also isn't in the film, there's a raging river that they have to get across, and they don't know how they're going to get across this river. So Tin Man says, well, how about if I cut some trees down and I'll build a raft? They're working in this very democratic way. It's quite lovely to see. So they all say, great, if you could build that raft, if you can cut the wood, we'll build the raft. And then the lion says, and I'll jump in the water. You hold my tail and I'll pull all of us across. And they do that. So I would encourage you, read the original book. It's just filled with fabulous stories that never made it into the film. And then they get off to the other side. So in the film, they miss these two great stories, because what these stories depict is that the Scarecrow already has a full functioning brain. The lion is full of courage, and Tin Man already has a loving and compassionate spirit. They have everything within them before they ever get to Oz. But their belief system is that they lack all of these things. So the other piece is that Dorothy, yes, she does see a lion. He comes out, he's barking, or not barking, he's growling at them. She slaps him on the snout, both in the book. And then he joins them as they all travel to the land of Oz, and he wants courage. Insight number 7, life diminishes or unfolds in proportion to the strength of your courage. This was really poorly represented in the film. The Wicked Witch sends the flying monkeys to pick up and capture all of them and to take them to her castle. She particularly wants Dorothy because Dorothy's got the shoes that she wants. And because she knows that if she can get the ruby red shoes, she'll be the most powerful witch in all the land of Oz, even more powerful than the wizard. But we find out the wizard has no power at all. In the film, what they do, if you remember, the Scarecrow is beaten up. They pull out his straw. They beat up the lion. They smash up the Tin Man, but they pick up Dorothy and they take her to the witch's castle. The way the screenwriters wrote this, and it had something to do with women's power. they decided that the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow were going to save Dorothy in the castle. But what happens is Dorothy saves them. They turn it around. They didn't want Dorothy to save them. So what happens in the castle is, so that scene where they're running through the castle and they're trying to get away from the witch and the Winkies and the flying monkeys, and the witch lights the Scarecrow on fire, and Dorothy inadvertently throws the water on the witch and she melts. That never happens. What really happens is that Dorothy steps into her power in that castle. The witch steals one of her shoes. Dorothy demands that shoe back. She says, I want that shoe. And the witch says, not only am I going to take this shoe, I'm going to take your other one too, and you're going to be my slave for the rest of your life. Dorothy, outraged, sees a bucket of water and she throws it on the witch, faces her, and the witch melts. Dorothy wins her freedom. Why they left that out of the film, I don't know. It's a fabulous scene. So the lion is being held captive in the courtyard. Dorothy then takes control of the Winkies and the flying monkeys. They all bow to her. She's now ahead of Oz, the whole kingdom. And so the Winkies help her. They find the Scarecrow. They take him to and mend him. They find a tinsmith and they hammer out all the dents in the Tin Man. And then she saves the lion who is chained in the courtyard. And then they go see the Wizard of Oz. Insight number 8. You possess the remarkable ability to transcend time. If you notice in the film, they're operating in 3 time zones all the time. They're in present time, journeying to Oz, but they're also in future time because they're thinking about, we're going to go see the wizard and he's going to help us. But Dorothy's also in past time because she remembers where she lived and she wants to be back home to where she was. Scarecrow talks about not having a brain in past time. He wants a brain in present time, and he's going to see the wizard in future time who's going to help them get a brain. So the 8th insight is that we possess the remarkable ability to transcend time. And time travel can be joyous. It can be stressful. It depends on the imagery and the imagination that we entertain. Milton Erickson, MD, marvelous physician who was the founder of medical hypnosis, he said hypnosis isn't about putting a person into a trance. Hypnosis is about taking a person out of the trance they're already in. Because that's basically what we do. We put ourselves in these different trance states: anger, depression, blame, joy, ecstasy. These are all trance states according to Milton Erickson. And I've come to see how much that works. It works very well when you're doing seminars or therapy work to see the different trance states people put themselves into. So we have this ability, this remarkable ability. We can be in past time, thinking about all these things that happened to us in the past that aren't good, but we can also erase that and go back in time about all the wonderful things that happened to us as we were growing up. One of the things I always have people I work with do is create a highlight journal, highlight and go through different 10-year segments, decades of your life, and highlight all the great things that happened to you, and do that all the way up to present time. So yes, this is a remarkable ability that we have. And then the last insight is about imagination. And I want to read you a little excerpt about what L. Frank Baum said about imagination. Imagination is one of the greatest factors and forces in human progress. Stunt dwarf or destroy the imagination of a child, and you have taken away its chances of success in life. Imagination transforms the commonplace into the great and creates the new out of the old. No man has ever made a new invention or discovery without imagination, and invention and discovery have made imagination progress. With insight number 9, imagination is always your way out of whatever is making you feel stuck. Our beliefs are determined by the stories that we tell ourselves. Dorothy fears she's stuck in Oz. Scarecrow fears he doesn't have a brain. The Tin Woodman cries he has lost his heart, and Lion fears he's a coward. Each of them believes that the Wizard of Oz will bring about their healing. But the truth is, their healing and grace arise from the help that they compassionately give to each other. It arises from the power and inspiration of their vivid imaginations, from the sacred community they create, respectfully, lovingly, and harmoniously journeying together on the yellow brick road. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tamiazzo. That was wonderful. Never quite saw, I don't think I'll ever see with the Wizard of Oz quite in the same way. And all you Zumbies, remember that we are going to be having the meeting, the annual meeting after the service. So if you joined us late, that'll be today after question and answer. This morning's offering will now be given and received. Please keep in mind that our congregation is entirely self-governed by the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and institutional well-being. You're invited to participate in the blessing of giving. For those at home, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. That'll wake you up. Our thanks for all gifts given and received for the work of this community. Let us now sing the doxology.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope
Please join in singing the closing hymn, Love Will Guide Us, number 131.
Love will guide us, Jesus guide us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. You are like no other being. What you can give, no other can give. To the future of our precious children, to the future of the world where we live. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from free to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Thank you, Mary. Let us now recite the valediction. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, and we know that the light of truth and love and the warmth of this community go with us until we meet again. That's what I do. Please extinguish your chalice at home now. After the benediction, please click on the gallery view button in the upper right corner of your screen, but please remain muted. Diane or I will call on you when you raise your hand. John?
It is our task, our spiritual work, to slowly transform all the negative qualities associated with home and to turn them into positive qualities. If we identify the word unavailable with our childhood memories, it's our task to spend time with people who are emotionally available to us. If we identify with the word hurtful, it is our task to spend time with supportive and loving people. We must take the best of our childhood home life and replicate that. We must take the worst of our childhood home life and make it our life's work to not repeat it. Like Dorothy facing the challenges on the yellow brick road with the help from Scarecrow, Tin Woodman, and Lion, our spiritual work requires help from others. We are not alone.